Thanks, Adrian. Well, normally when you hear about games with managers described as master versus apprentice, it's a little questionable, but not here, because back in 2006, whilst seeing out his playing career in Mexico, Pep Guardiola sought out Marcelo Bielsa in Buenos Aires as he contemplated a career in coaching. 11 hours later, after starting that meeting, Pep was convinced, and now 26 major trophies later, he's vindicated too. Bielsa's only trophy in that time was the championship title that brought Leeds United to this level. And last year, Pep couldn't outwit his tutor as Manchester City drew at Ellen Road and lost here to a late Stuart Dallas goal in the last seconds. Well, tonight, table toppers City aim for a 7th straight Premier League win, whilst the visitors looking nervously over their shoulder at the relegation battle just beneath them. 5 points the gap to the bottom 3. 4 changes for Manchester City from the 1-0 win over Wolves that you heard here on Saturday lunchtime. Out go Cancelo, who's suspended. Gundogan, Jesus and Sterling all dropped to the bench. In come Stones, De Bruyne, Mahrez and Foden. It may well still be 4-3-3, but we'll work that out as soon as we get underway. If it is to be the same formation that Pep uses in the Premier League, it'll be Ederson in goal, a back 4 of Stones, Diaz, Laporte and Zinchenko, and then De Bruyne, Rodri and Bernardo Silva in midfield, Mahrez, Foden and Grealish up front. Leeds were unlucky not to leave Stamford Bridge with a point on Saturday afternoon. It's the same 11 selected by Bielsa here tonight, but probably set up slightly differently to the way they were in West London. Meslier is the goalkeeper. And Shackleton, Ayling, Llorente and Firpo in a back 4. Forshaw, the holding midfielder. 4 in front of him, Rafinha, Dallas, Roberts and Harrison. James is the lone striker. On the bench for City, Stefan, Ake, Sterling, Gundogan, Jesus, Fernandinho, Palmer and a couple of kids from the academy system. We did play in the EFL Cup here against Wickham in CJ Egan-Riley and Josh Wilson-Esbrand for Leeds. Christopher Klassen is their sub-keeper, along with Joe Gelhardt, who scored at Stamford Bridge on Saturday to make it 2-2. Cresswell, Drama, Somerville, Greenwood, Click, McCarran and Jenkins are the rest of the subs. Paul Tierney is the man in the middle this evening, and all players take the knee ahead of kick-off to signify their continuing support for the fight against racial injustice. Manchester City all in sky blue, as you would expect. Leeds in their change strip of all dark blue, and we are underway with Leeds defending the south stand end away to our right, in front of their own supporters who've made the trip down the M62. Manchester City then heading for the south stand, defending the north stand away to our left. Now, have I given Danny Mills long enough at the start of this game to work out the formation?
Well, it does indeed look like John Stones is going to play at right back, that we sort of thought might happen but weren't 100% convinced about. If I'm Jack Harrison, I'm saying get the ball out to me. Get the ball out wide, let me get him one-on-one. OK, Jack Harrison, not the most in terms of skillful at dribbling with the ball, but he's a fantastic runner, and he can make those runs in behind. Doesn't need to do a trick to beat him, just knock it in behind him. Rodri, as expected, is sitting. Foden's going to play the false 9, Grealish right, Grealish left, Mahrez on the right, and then De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva really going wherever they want to go.
Minute gone, 0-0 on Talksport. We're bringing you all the Premier League action this week across the Talksport network, including tonight. Remember, Norwich Villa underway over on Talksport 2 with Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin, and City coming forward for the first time tonight with De Bruyne, right-hand corner of the penalty area, supported by Mahrez. It comes for De Bruyne again across the edge of the 18-yard box. Foden tries a drive from the edge of the D, and Leeds United can get the ball out of harm's way for the time being, but it's back on the left-hand side with Bernardo Silva, but he's shown too much of that too. Jamie Shackleton playing at right back for Leeds tonight, and he works it back to Luke Ayling at the edge of his own area. Forshaw now picks it up off the back 4 and then plays it backwards to square to Diego Llorente. 0-0.
What's interesting already is we know how Leeds like to play man for man all over the pitch. A couple of times when Foden's dropped really deep, Llorente has gone all the way with him and he's followed him, even if it's 15, 20 yards deeper than he needs to be, he's gone right in with him, and that could open up spaces later on.
City coming forward again, a drive from the edge of the area from Jack Grealish is well saved by Meslier, plunging away to his right-hand side. Grealish got to about 20 yards out, hit a low daisy cutter, but the Leeds keeper dealt with it well. 0-0.
Yeah, it did. And this is the problem. if you're going to go man for man, you've got to be very, very careful that you don't get pulled out of position and allow gaps for everybody else.
Manchester City 0, Leeds United 0 on Talksport. Ian Dancer and Danny Mills with you here at the Etihad Stadium. As Leeds come forward into the City half for the first time, Dan James inside right channel. He's got support from Shackleton ahead of him. Rafinha's there too now in the box. Wins a corner, does he know? It's a goal kick that's been given by Paul Tierney.
Good defending in the end. Emile Laporte just stood his ground, just waited, didn't dive in, said, right, OK, Rafinha, I know you want to come back onto your left foot, but I'm not going to allow it to happen. If you want to go and beat me down the line.
Nearly 3 minutes gone on Talksport. Manchester City 0, Leeds United 0. And Ederson brings the ball outside of his penalty area. Not being closed down by Dan James, but will play it right to Diaz. Square to Laporte. So it is a 4-3-3 for Manchester City. Stones playing in a somewhat unorthodox right-back position, with Cancelo suspended and Walker out with an unspecified illness.
Having said that, Laporte's now up front.
Very true. You just can't pick them, can you? Here is Foden at the edge of the Leeds United penalty area. Lays it off to Grealish. Socks characteristically roll down towards his ankles. Plays it to De Bruyne. Tries to give it back to Grealish with a 1-2. But that was read by Luke Ayling. Ayling clears the ball outside the penalty area, but only as far as Stones. And Manchester City retain the ball and work it back to halfway for Diaz. 0-0.
Leeds can sometimes cause themselves one or two problems because they want to play very, very quickly. They want to be on the front foot. When you've got a team that is also very, very good at that and probably better at keeping possession, if you're not careful, you get a little bit panicky in those defensive areas and you give the ball away and you keep inviting pressure. That's where sometimes you need to change your game plan just slightly, and if you get a free kick or the ball goes out of play, like it has now, just slow it down. There's no need to rush things. Just everybody take a breath, calm yourselves down and just wait a minute or so.
Here is Tyler Roberts receiving a throw just over halfway, gets pushed over by Rodri, so Leeds have a free kick at 10 yards inside the Manchester City half of the field, slightly to the left of centre. Pep Guardiola wearing a long padded coat this evening, strides purposefully back to his technical area. Marcelo Bielsa already on the bucket, the upturned bucket. He's
got a pad these days.
It has.
It's getting spoiled.
Yeah, perhaps it's heated as well this time of year, you never know.
With Bielsa, not a chance.
Just wondering.
Not a chance.
Laporte in possession, just next to the centre circle. Dan James thinks about closing him down, but it goes back to Ederson. Short pass to Ruben Diaz, approaching the halfway line. Crossfield ball, attempting to pick out Grealish. It was actually missed by Rafinha, but then actually put Grealish off, and it.
No, I think he did that deliberately. Well. I think as it came in, he knew where Grealish was.
Oh, so
he ducked out of it. Yeah, just threw him a little dummy.
Well, it worked because Grealish fell for it. It's gone out of play, but Manchester City trying to win the ball back on the far side with Zinchenko. He's dispossessed by Rafinha. And now Ayling plays a little ball infield to Adam Forshaw. Good ball up to halfway, chested down by Dan James. Nods it infield to Tyler Roberts, who's trying to turn away from Bernardo Silva and Rodri. Does well. Threads it up to the halfway line, and Rafinha ends up winning a throw, trying to flick the ball backwards.
But just look at the Man City players. Look, Foden now put Ayling under pressure, now chasing the goalkeeper down.
Yeah, they did put Illan Melia under pressure there, and Foden was very close to him, but he just got the ball away, but given away by Leeds. Now Foden finds De Bruyne inside the area and selfishly squares it across for Grealish, who's put it wide. Massive chance for Jack Grealish, and Bernardo Silva is actually the man that missed the opportunity. It was squared across unselfishly by De Bruyne.
Diego Llorente is a very, very lucky man. He comes out from the back and he tries to play it outside the foot. I've no idea where. It gets picked off. It's into Foden, who again it picks out De Bruyne absolutely brilliantly with a little reverse pass. And he is then so unselfish. He looked up and thought, you know what, Bernardo Silva's in a better position, 10 yards out from goal, level with the far post, and he hit it off his heel. Somehow he missed the target.
He's been in such good goal-scoring form, Bernardo Silva, of late as well. 3-3 in the Premier League and the Champions League. But it stays 0-0 on Talksport with 6.5 minutes gone at the Etihad Stadium. City in possession again with Diaz, striding up to the halfway line. Plays it back to John Stones.
I don't like saying that, a player should score. I'd rather, often say that they should hit the target in that situation. But that's one where he should have scored. Simple as that.
Foden threads the ball through. Oh, a brilliant run into the area, and it's cleared out to Foden, who sends it goalwards. It's gone in. Stuart Dallas couldn't keep it out on the line. It's only taken Manchester City 7 minutes to hit the front, and when they do, Phil Foden just strokes the ball home from the edge of the area. Dallas on the line tried to keep it out but couldn't, and already at the Etihad, the leaders lead. It's Manchester City 1, Leeds United 0.
Leeds defence was all over the place. No one's got really... There's no set positions, and that's the problem. Luke Ayling's on his own because, again, Llorente followed Foden in. There was 2 really poor challenges as Rodri went through. I mean, they were half-hearted attempts to try and win the ball. Meslier came out, did pretty well with his knees, and it popped back up to Foden. And he just sort of pushed it forward. Wasn't really a shot, was it? And Dallas has had a complete air kick at it.
Just came off the outside of Stuart Dallas's right boot as he tried to launch it.
Stuart Dallas has been magnificent for Leeds over the last few years, but he's got to do better than that. And this, you don't need to swing at it in that situation. He had time, actually. He could have controlled it.
Phil Foden makes it 6 goals for the season. He's not scored since October in the Premier League, but he's put them ahead. Leeds trying to respond with Harrison's cross into the Leeds box. Half cleared by Grealish.
But that's the problem you have, Dance. Sorry, as Leeds just get another attack going.
And then they give away a free kick, carry on.
That's the problem. When Llorente goes in, I said that very, very early on, he followed whoever the false 9 is very, very deep. And that leaves a huge space. Luke Ayling was then on his own. Rodri then picked the ball up, went through a couple of challenges which were pretty pathetic, in all honesty. You've got to stand up, you've got to tackle much better than that. He then managed to tow the ball forwards as Meslier came out and got his knees to it. But when you go man for man, if one person gets caught out, you're in all sorts of bother. And then after that, because that one person gets caught out, it's then panic stations. Everybody then rushes to the ball. Some people run back towards the line, and of course then Foden, with a tame shot, should we say, is able to bobble one into the back of the net.
Talksport in the Premier League. We're all over it this week. More live games tomorrow and Thursday.
Ayling's doing the same now. Look, Luke Ayling has left centre-half position, and he's gone 30 yards forward into midfield to man-mark Phil Foden.
Dallas was he dropping for the moment into that position that Ayling had vacated.
Where's the argument? Where's the danger as a defender? The danger is behind you, so stay in that position at times. I know it's attractive the way that Bielsa plays, but as a defender, you can't go wandering 30, 40 yards up the pitch.
They've won their last 6 at home here, Manchester City, since that 2-0 defeat to Crystal Palace right at the end of October. One thing I will say about Leeds is they've scored at least one goal in 6 of their last 7, so they know their way to the back of the net just lately. But here at the Etihad, Manchester City are particularly tight in terms of their defensive formation. They do not give goals away readily here at their own stadium. Here's Diego Llorente driving the ball down the left-hand side for Leeds, up to the halfway line, but it's come to be dealt with by Stones. Now Rodri, whose run set up that goal for Foden. Now Roberts wins it back for Leeds United and finds Llorente. Incidentally, Rafinha is one of a number of... He had that challenge on Jack Grealish a moment ago. He's one of a number of Leeds players. They're going to be careful out there tonight that they don't pick up the 5 yellow cards that will see them suspended.
Look at David Silva's work rate. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Now here's Rodri winning the ball back for Manchester City, darting towards the edge of the area. De Bruyne at the edge of the D, tries to curl it goalwards, and it deflects off Ayling and out for a Manchester City corner at the south stand end. 1-0 City lead on 11 minutes.
Well, I said to our agent at the start, they've got to be careful that similar doesn't happen like to what happened at Manchester United, where you go a little bit gung-ho, you're all over the place, and you get picked off very, very early. And it's happened 2 or 3 times now where, Rodri picks the ball up because Leeds give it away, and he's just running into open field.
Mahrez to take the corner where the Colin Bell stand meets the south stand end of the Etihad. Left-footed in swinger onto the 6-yard box. It's headed away and out of danger by the Leeds defence, but comes back to Mahrez in space on this right-hand side. Curls it in, and it's headed in for number 2, and Jack Grealish is back amongst the goals for Manchester City. Lovely header, just cushioned it home. The cross from the right-hand corner of the box from Riyad Mahrez was aching to be headed home, and Jack Grealish obliged. Barely a quarter of the game gone, and Man City look away and clear. Man City 2, Leeds United 0.
It's a delightful ball in from Riyad Mahrez. Absolutely, he just feels it in. The initial corner is a decent ball in as well, but it comes back out to him. He doesn't try and whip it with too much pace. You know, he just guides it into the right area, clearly onside, and it's a really good header from Jack Grealish. You know, he might have the flowing locks, he might have the headband on, but it's a really good header. He keeps his eye on the ball, gets a really good contact on it. Meslier at point-blank range, absolutely no chance. It's too close to him for him to be able to react. But where was the defending? 2 Manchester City players inside the 6-yard box, and not a single Leeds United defender around them. You simply cannot afford to defend like that.
Jack Grealish gets his 3rd goal of the season and only his 2nd in the Premier League. He scored against Norwich early in the piece and won in the Champions League against Leipzig early on. And here he is picking up the ball from a throw-in and starts to run at the back line. Runs into Llorente, who fouls him, and Manchester City have a free kick midway point of the Leeds half. And they're just threatening to go through the gears here, Pep Guardiola's men. At 2-0 up already with 13 minutes play.
They look relentless, don't they? And all of a sudden you can see Jack Grealish. That goal will give him so much confidence. We talked about him beforehand. Suddenly now it's like, the pressure's released. It doesn't matter what, even if he misses a chance now, he's got one. So he can get there, he can relax, he can play, he can try things, and maybe be the Grealish that we used to see at Aston Villa.
De Bruyne with the free kick for Manchester City, centre of the Leeds half. He can go right or left here, although most of the Man City players are at the right-hand corner of the box. In he goes looking for Rodri, headed out to the edge of the box by Robertson, volleyed over the bar. And so City player Laporte who actually took the volley.
Caught a little bit late.
He's rolling around inside the Leeds penalty area in some distress. He's just slowly picking himself up. 14 minutes gone on Talksport. Manchester City 2, Leeds United.
Oh, I tell you what, I want
VAR might have a look at this, you think?
Well, it's almost impossible. I mean, I've been involved in so many of these sort of challenges where, you know, a player's going to shoot or clear the ball. They're both in the air. They're both trying to get to the ball, and it's the follow-through that catches, you know, the defensive player, if you like. Yeah. I mean, centre wingers and centre forwards used to do it all the time. They used to go put a channel ball in down the line, and they would just stand there, leave their foot there, and their argument would be that you kicked them. Okay, it happened to be on the top of your ankle and crack your shin. But again, I think that's one of those where you just have to say, look, sometimes in football we get contact. 2 players going for the ball, there is going to be some kind of collisions.
2-0 to Manchester City here on Talksport with a quarter of an hour gone. Still 0-0 at Carrow Road between Norwich City and Aston Villa. That game is live on Talksport 2 right now with Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin, your commentary team in East Anglia.
The problem you've got now, Dance, is even if you're Marcelo Bielsa and you're ultra confident in the way that you're playing your team, do you really believe you're going to score 3 here?
No, not at this point.
So now what do you do?
But they scored 2 here with 10 men last season, winning 2-1.
They did. But at the moment, you're just thinking, I can't see, you know, the only way you can see it going at the moment is Manchester City getting another one.
Well, this time Meslier's been forced to clear from the edge of his 6-yard box and shanks it out of play to this near touchline for a throw to be taken by John Stones. You're listening to Manchester City against Leeds on Talksport with Now. Don't forget, with the Now Sports Day membership, you can stream all the Sky Sports action for just £9.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports.
Leeds will get unpicked by Manchester City because of this man-to-man system, and if you watch one or two of the defenders when they go really, really deep with Man City players, they leave big holes. Manchester City players will gamble because they will go, you know what, doesn't matter. Whoever it is on the ball, if they're under pressure, they're not going to give the ball away, so I can gamble. I can make that run into the space, knowing full well that I might not get the first pass, but I'll definitely get the second one. And that's why Manchester City appear at the moment to have like 2 or 3 extra players.
That's the former Manchester City and Leeds defender Danny Mills alongside me, Ian Danter, here at the Etihad. We've got 17 minutes gone. Manchester City already 2-0 up and prowling into the Leeds half again. Out to the left-hand side it goes, and Jack Grealish, who scored the second, one-on-one with Shackleton, dives inside and gets to the edge of the area. Still going Grealish, tries to drive Shackleton and stay with him and blocks it, and anywhere will do from Jack Harrison to get it up to halfway. 2-0.
Good run from Grealish. Little burst of pace coming inside. Shackleton did really well, actually, to stay with the run. Matched the run, stayed with it. Last-ditch tackle yet again. If not, that'd have been another shot on target.
Incidentally, that goal for Phil Foden was Manchester City's 500th Premier League goal.
He can't be far off the 100 club, can he, Phil Foden?
No, he can't. Well, 207 games. It's the best record to get to 500 Premier League goals for any club. Klopp got Liverpool to 500 goals in 234 games. They're already on to 501 with Grealish's goal not long after Foden's opener. Here's Bernardo Silva darting towards the edge of the area, finds Foden, edge of the D, works it to the right-hand corner, and Mahrez against Firpo, gets past him into the near post, looking for De Bruyne, and it's put behind. It's a goal kick given by Paul Tierney. Said it came off the Belgian last of all. Goal kick to Leeds United. Man City lead 2-0 on Talksport.
De Bruyne is fuming that he didn't get a corner out of that, and it was Forshaw that tracked the run. Looks like a corner to me. Not quite sure how either of the officials missed that, but that's Leeds' biggest problem, because Manchester City are so comfortable in possession. Even if they're faced by one or two Leeds players that have put them under pressure, they believe that they will keep the ball, and players will make runs into those spaces off the back of other players.
2-0 to Manchester City here. Still 0-0 between Norwich and Villa, although Villa have just taken the lead. Jacob Ramsey has given Aston Villa the lead at Carrow Road. That game's live on TalkSport 2 right now with Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin. And the Villa youngster has put Steven Gerrard's side ahead against their old boss Dean Smith.
Is that one of those Villa youngsters that Dean Smith helped to develop?
Yep. Put quite simply. And here's Riyad Mahrez looking to get away from Firpo, looking at hold of his shirt then. It will be a booking for Junior Firpo. And Firpo will now sit out a suspension because he's one of those Leeds players out there
he's
timed
that wrong, hasn't he?
4 yellow card. Well, yeah, out for Christmas.
Oh, yeah, got to time that right. That'd have been perfect in the good old days where it used to take 2 weeks for that to come through. I've no idea how I know that, but...
Danny Mills speaking from regular experience.
Just coincidentally missed 1 or 2 Boxing Days.
Free kick then to Manchester City, to the right of centre, right in the halfway point of the Leeds United half. So there's a whole clutch of players in sky blue and dark blue amassed at the far side of the penalty area. Mahrez and De Bruyne standing over the free kick. Mahrez runs over it. De Bruyne delivers it, and it's headed away from the edge of the area by Rafinha. Grealish goes to retrieve it and knocks it back to Zinchenko on the halfway line. Now it's sent back to De Bruyne, who's the last man, and he just plays it back first time to Ederson, who, as things stand, looks like he's going to have a very quiet evening, the Manchester City goalkeeper. I'm
surprised there's only 60% possession to Man City at the moment.
Lovely floated pass across to Riyad Mahrez on this near side of the City right, looking to isolate Firpo, gets to the right hand corner of the box, he plays it backwards to square for Stones. De Bruyne almost thought about threading it back down that right hand side of the box for Mahrez, but City prefer to keep the ball, and again they're going to go back to Ederson so they can start again from the back.
But even there, Dan, Diaz is under pressure from Dan James and Jack Harrison, 2-on-1. He's calm, doesn't panic. Manchester City players trust him that he's not going to give the ball away, and he doesn't.
Grealish looks to flick the ball up to the edge of the area, brought down by Mahrez on the run, gets to the left hand corner of the area, plays it through to Bernardo Silva. Lovely trickery from Bernardo Silva, pulls it across the face of goal, and nobody there in front to tuck it away for Manchester City. But what a lovely jinking run from Bernardo Silva to buy himself the space, but nobody there to tuck it away. So it says 2-0.
That was so good, Dan. I don't even know what he's done. I need to see the replay. I'm not sure how he managed to do that. I mean, it's great feet, and then the cross, a little bit fortunate, goes through Luke Aylin's legs. But he just waits. He's very, very patient. Lets the ball goes onto his back foot left, chops it back onto his right, then goes back the other way in the space of about half a yard. Exquisite touch.
Manchester City 2-0 up and coming forward again with Rodri. as they head for the south stand end.
Rodri's killing Leeds at the moment. He's picking the ball up from deep and he's driving at people. And Roberts is really sort of the main man that's supposed to be around him. And once he's gone past Roberts, that's it then. And then it causes mayhem, because that means someone else has to come off their man to engage with Rodri.
There's barely a stud mark in the left-hand half of the pitch that we're looking at. All the action's taking place towards our right-hand side, toward the south stand that City are attacking. De Bruyne up to the edge of the area, plays a 1-2 with Phil Foden. Mahrez takes over. De Bruyne goes on his outside to the right-hand corner of the box, tries a first-time cross. It's blocked away by a combination of Harrison and Firpo, and out for a throw on this near side. Taken quickly by De Bruyne. Foden lets the ball run across his body, takes Llorente with him.
Foul.
Well, the referee's playing advantage as Foden keeps hold of the ball, plays it backwards a square to Stones.
Do you know why he's done that, the referee? Because if he pulls him up there for a free kick, shirt pull, he's got to book him. And he knows then that starts to cause...
And Llorente is another one of those on that full yellow card.
But then it causes the referee problems, because he's then thinking, later on I'm going to have to send somebody off for something almost silly.
Foden tries to release Grealish down the left-hand side, but it was read by Shackleton. Rafinha picks it up for Leeds United. Infield it goes to Llorente. And Luke Ayling just does the calm down symbol as he receives the ball from Llorente and gives the ball back to Meslier. But Manchester City, as usual, are hunting in packs to win the ball back as soon as Leeds try and get a spell of possession going.
Thing is, Manchester City will go, you want to play 1-for-1? You want to go man for man all over the pitch? Yeah, bring it on. Because we know full well that if you go man for man, we'll still pass around you, because our touch is good enough, our passing, our movement is better than yours, and we can deal with it.
Ayling just...
it just goes to show, Leeds can't. Leeds don't have the quality on the ball or the movement to keep the ball playing one-on-one. Not compared to this Manchester City side, they don't.
Manchester City 2, Leeds United 0. Edison almost gave the ball straight to Jack Harrison.
It was never in doubt.
Very casual.
It was 5 or 6 inches. 5 or 6 inches in it. That's a mile for Edison.
Here's Bernardo Silva.
It's quite embarrassing that he's
trying to wriggle away from Dallas.
He's way better than most outfield players that I ever played.
Here's Rodri again, just barnstorming into the Leeds United half. Then he checks his run, plays it across the line to De Bruyne, who works it out early to Grealish, hugging the left-hand touchline, almost level with the Leeds penalty area, looking to isolate Shackleton. Gets the ball past Shackleton, but shows too much of it to Ayling. Ayling gets out to the far side, looks up and clips the ball up to Dan James, knocks it down well to Stuart Dallas, and maybe Leeds can break here. Tyler Roberts looks to release Rafinha and then Shackleton. Shackleton down the right-hand side for Dan James. Harrison moving into the penalty area. Dan James puts the ball into the area, but it's cleared away comfortably by Rodri, who's back there defending this time.
But can you see how Rodri is causing all sorts of problems?
Grealish just skips away from Dallas like he's not there and moves into the Leeds half. Looks for Foden inside the box. Angles like, can he pull it across? And Llorente does well, but concedes a corner to Leeds United at the south stand end. 2-0.
Foden goes down there. That's a penalty, I think. I mean, great movement, great pace from Jack Grealish. Went past Dallas like he wasn't there. That's a push in the back, isn't it? If Foden goes down, that's a penalty. And then this is the problem. If Foden doesn't go down, he doesn't get a penalty. If he goes down there, people are going, he dived, he went down too easily.
It's a corner that Foden is out there to take if he wants to take a left footer. All the players are massed at the edge of the 6-yard box. It is Foden's delivery, headed up in the air by Roberts, out to the edge of the box. Bernardo Silva muscles his way in front of Shackleton to get the ball back. De Bruyne now with a deep ball to the far post, looking for Mahrez. It's overhit and goes out on the full over the dead ball line. So 2-0 here to Manchester City on Talksport with 25 minutes gone. It's still 1-0 to Villa at Carrow Road. That's on Talksport 2 right now, with Jacob Ramsey the goal scorer. And don't forget, tomorrow 3 live games for you on the app. We've got Burnley-Watford at 7:30 on the TalkSport app, at 7:45 on TalkSport 2, Palace against Southampton, and here on TalkSport at 8 p.m, Arsenal, without Aubameyang of course, against West Ham United in the London derby. And then we've got more live games for you on Thursday as well.
So Man City have gone man for man all over the pitch and gone, OK, we'll have it, because it's not a problem, because we believe that we're better than you. And Leeds don't know what to do.
Bernardo Silva picks up the ball and finds De Bruyne, midway point of the Leeds half. Zinchenko laying it off now to Grealish on the left-hand side. Back it goes to Bernardo Silva, approaching the left-hand corner of the box, just cheekily flicks it back out to Grealish, up against Rafinha. Trying to dig out a cross, is he? No, he's going to play it to Bernardo Silva at the edge of the area with his back to goal. Just turns away from Dallas and makes him fall over. Now Foden picks it up 25 yards out. Foden trying to make room for a shot. Leaves it for De Bruyne. He will make room for a shot. Oh, and a good claim by Meslier underneath the crossbar. De Bruyne was trying to aim for the postage stamp, but it was a bit more central than that. But Meslier still had to deal with it. Man City 2 Leeds.
De Bruyne did well because Forshaw was all over him, tugging him back and all sorts. Manchester City at the moment, in and out of possession, are sublime. They are absolutely brilliant. When they haven't got the ball, their tactics, they're set up absolutely perfectly to play against Leeds. When they've got the ball, their pass and their movement, and what I think you don't always appreciate.
As Rafinha comes forward, trying to get the better of Zinchenko at the edge of the area. Good defending by Zinchenko, nodding it back.
There looked like a hand in there somewhere, but I'm not sure.
Well, that's what's been claimed by Rafinha.
I'm not sure whose hand.
We play on as Rodri moves again purposefully into the Leeds half. Bernardo Silva out left to Grealish, level with the edge of the area, steps inside, plays it along the deck. Rodri trying to make room for a shot. The angle runs out, and eventually Meslier can just pounce on top of the ball inside the 6-yard box.
That's the problem again. Rodri's burst forward. Roberts hasn't followed him. Roberts is 40, 50 yards behind him, and then everyone else is going, well, hang on a minute, we're all man for man. So if someone comes out to engage Rodri, you're now struggling, because where do you go next? Because that leaves someone else free higher up the pitch. We're just seeing the handball again. It is Zinchenko that... It's an interesting one.
Well, VAR must be taking a look.
Is it because he gets a little nudge?
Well, Paul Tierney is just holding on to the ball as Mellier's back to his feet. You're listening to Man City 2 Leeds 0 on Talksport with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Hundreds of branches, usually only 15 minutes away. Find yours now. And VAR is having a good look. If it is a handball, it's outside the penalty area. And Paul Tierney is still holding on to the ball. You don't think so?
If it's outside the box, I don't think they'll bother. Going back, what is it, 2 minutes now almost, for a free kick. Can't see that happening.
Well, they can do that within the laws of the game. It's the next break in play.
If it's a penalty, I think they go back and give it. But if it's not, I think they'll just say play on.
Paul Tierney still holding on to the ball, and will only now present it back to Meslier. Check over, and nothing doing as far as Stockley Park is concerned. Darren England is the man there looking after VAR this evening, and we play on with Man City 2-0 up.
But this is where, if we were listening to that conversation, the first thing you say is, was there a push on Zinchenko? Is that a foul? Yes, there is. Well, then it's end of story. You don't need to look at anything else, whether it's handball inside or outside. Do it like the cricket does it, and do it in chronological order. I think that's where sometimes VAR gets it wrong. They go to the instance of, is it a penalty? Oh yes. Oh, now actually we need to look, see if there was a foul. They get it the wrong way round.
Danny Mills, former Leeds and Manchester City right back with me, Ian Danter, and Adrian Durham's here as well, of course, at the Etihad Stadium. We've played half an hour. Manchester City 2, Leeds United 0. Goals from Foden and Grealish. And Manchester City are in the mood tonight, most definitely, against the Leeds United side that just at times are finding it really hard to keep pace with them.
I think Pep will want another goal before half-time just to really kill the game off.
Well, back it goes to half.
So look, Llorente's followed Foden.
Yes.
And Foden's almost in the centre-half position at that point. And now look, he's run off the back of him, and Foden's now in the box free.
Zinchenko wins a throw-in on the far side off Rafinha.
You can play man for man like this against lesser sides. You can get away with it in the Championship, you can get away with it in the lower half of the Premier League. But when you're playing against some of the best players with great touch, great movement, great passing ability, you get picked off more often than not. And this is Leeds. It's not their strongest team as well, remember.
Rodri again for Manchester City. Lovely through ball to Brunner inside the area. 3-0. Magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. But the ball from Rodri, who's been the player of the first half, was sublime. De Bruyne onto it into a flash. Left-hand side of the box and clipped it past Meslier. Absolutely brilliant. Manchester City 3, Leeds United 0. Good night, Vienna.
Another outstanding finish from Kevin De Bruyne, made by Rodri. And as I was talking about, Tyler Roberts cannot cope with him. Rodri just keeps running off the back of him time and time again. He slips De Bruyne through, in the inside left channel. Meslier comes out, and it's an outstanding finish in at the near post. Doesn't give Meslier a chance to get set. Meslier probably thinks he's going to go across goal. It's a really good finish from Kevin De Bruyne. Nothing really Meslier can do about that. It was really interesting. Tyler Roberts and Dan James almost went head to head as that goal went in. If Tyler Roberts is in there to stay with Rodri, he's got to stay with him. Got to do your job. That's 5, 6, 7 times that Rodri's run off the back of him now and caused problems.
What were you saying just 10 seconds before that? Manchester City need a third goal before half-time.
No, Pep not need. Pep would want one.
OK. Well, they've got it. 3-0 up.
He probably wants 4 now.
Well, here's Rafinha, right-hand corner of the Manchester City penalty area, trying to wriggle away from a couple of challenges. Hits it against the chest of Rodri. And it's brought away by Riyad Mahrez for Man City. Rodri's on his bike again, moving towards the halfway line. Little ball along the halfway line, just evades Tyler Roberts, and Grealish holds the ball up.
The problem you've got now is Manchester City can start to toy with Leeds, can start to play with them a little bit. They can draw them in, because Leeds now, they're angry. They're rushing around all over the place. Manchester City players have got the composure to just pick them off now.
Out on the left-hand side, Zinchenko level with the edge of the Leeds penalty area. Lays it off to Bernardo Silva. Foden, 25 yards out, looking up his options and works it back to Diaz. Now Laporte just by the centre circle. He rolls it back out to Zinchenko on the left-hand side. 1 and 2 touch football, a delight from Manchester City. Here's Grealish now. Infield it goes to Zinchenko again. Back out to Jack Grealish, who now comes infield from that left-hand touchline. Spins away from Dallas just for a moment. Foden's now out there helping him. And then back it goes.
It's Olay football now, isn't it, at the moment?
Yep.
Manchester City go, you know what? It's done and dusted.
Bernardo Silva moves into the centre circle and squares it for Diaz. Now a crossfield pass looking for Mahrez. Firpo gets his foot there in the nick of time. It's 1-0 to Villa at half-time in our Talksport 2 commentary from Carrow Road. Jacob Ramsey with the only goal of the game for Villa. Full second half commentary to come on that game with Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin.
And Pep's still not happy.
When have you ever seen him happy on the touchline?
He still wants them to. I mean, they took a really quick throw in, and he still wants them to move it quicker and get on with it. I mean, he's absolutely relentless, isn't he?
As are his players. Here's Laporte just darting through the centre circle, plays the ball into the feet of Mahrez, who's running towards the edge of the area, just to the left of centre. Lays it off to De Bruyne, who picks it up, centre of the half. Just to his right is Bernardo Silva. Again, Leeds trying to get pretty much everybody bar Dan James behind the ball. But Manchester City just playing 1 and 2 touch football and happy to work it back into their own half and start again, as they're doing here with De Bruyne and Laporte now in possession. Coming short this time is Grealish toward the halfway line. Now Laporte looks up.
Pep's furious that they're just keeping the ball at the moment.
Well, Grealish.
You look at him, he's really not happy. He always wants them to move it with a purpose, for a reason, not just to keep it for keeping its sake.
Well, here's Ruben Diaz moving towards the edge of the area, lofts it into the box left-hand side, asking Foden to give chase, but he's asked too much of Phil Foden there, and it bobbles out of play for a goal kick to Leeds United. 10 minutes to half-time on Talksport. Manchester City 3, Leeds United 0. Danny Mills.
Not sure whether Leeds are trying to make some sort of changes.
What now, before half-time?
Well, not in terms of... Looks like Charlie Creswell's just come back in from a warm-up, but Shackleton's gone down, I think. Looks like he's holding his calf at the moment, maybe his Achilles. But no, I think they were trying to make tactical changes. There's a couple of coaches out there with Bielsa. I think they're trying to change things around just to try and stem the flow, because at the moment they're not quite man for man, although if it's people are getting picked off, Manchester City are driving, breaking the lines, and once you've broken that 1-to-1, you're in all sorts of problems. Leeds were brilliant at it for 3 seasons. They were fantastic at doing that. Now all of a sudden, Rodri's going, right, okay, then I'm just going to drive.
Well, Matthias Klick's being readied by Marcelo Bielsa and his coaching staff. Klick, who was subject to lots of criticism for the challenge that led to Chelsea's winning penalty on Saturday, but you could hear them cheering his name.
And right, hang on, Leeds away fans are unbelievable, by the way. Are absolutely outstanding. I think he's come off Twitter because some of the abuse that he got for that. Okay, it wasn't the greatest challenge in the world, but if it hadn't been given as a penalty, you know what, you wouldn't have argued with that either, would you? You'd have quite happy say, okay, play on. So for him to get that much abuse that he's had to come off Twitter, I mean, it's absolutely shocking. Well, they're, in my opinion, and they probably weren't, they're probably not proper Leeds fans that are putting that abuse out there.
Shackleton will not be able to continue. His calf problem is too severe. He's being helped off the pitch. Let me remind you, it's currently Manchester City 3, Leeds United 0. And for the latest odds, you can head to Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get goal scoring odds for next goal scorer of Riyad Mahrez at 7-5, Phil Foden at 5-1, Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva both at 6-1, and if you fancy both teams to score, because Leeds have scored in 6 of the last 7, that's 17-10.
Got Darren Forshaw on there. What are his odds?
I haven't looked. A bit longer, just a tad longer.
We've got to keep scrolling.
Possibly. That's all thanks to Betfair, where you'll get no cash out suspensions on match odds and over-under goal markets on football. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. So Click is on for Shackleton.
Looks in a bad way, Shackleton. Really limping really quite badly on that right ankle.
Another injury that Marcelo Bielsa could well do without.
Yes, Dallas back to right back, isn't it?
Yeah. Here's Rodri for Manchester City meantime.
He's been immense, hasn't he?
Getting toward the edge of the D. Plays it into Mahrez with his back to goal 18 yards out, being forced back towards the midpoint of the half by Ayling. Does well, Ayling. And then Manchester City go all the way back to halfway. And now Ruben Dias. He's got Stones on the right-hand side, who's had a quiet first half, John Stones, and there we were wondering...
He's had nothing to do. The guy could have played right back in this team.
Through ball from Laporte, almost split Leeds right in half, and Bernardo Silva was almost in behind, but I think a deflection off a Leeds boot just took it away from Bernardo Silva and through for Meslier, 3-0.
But just talking about Rodri, we were talking about Jack Grealish earlier on, how, some players start unbelievably well. First 4 or 5 games I watched Rodri play, I just went, wow. This is the new Busquets, without a shadow of a doubt. And then a real dip in form, didn't he? And he struggled for a little bit. And all of a sudden, 6 months later, he's come really good again.
Diaz catches Tyler Roberts late. A long through ball up to the edge of the area.
Should be a book in that, I think.
Well, it will be, I think, when the ball next goes out of play. Roberts needs treatment. He stayed down just shy of the halfway line. And there is a yellow card for Ruben Dias for that challenge. But there was no advantage given to Leeds. The play wasn't brought back for a free kick because the through ball was overhit as Leeds tried to counter.
Yeah, it was a late challenge. Definitely a booking. But then the referee was in a little bit of a pickle, wasn't he? Because he'd allowed play to go on. Leeds had given the ball away. It's not a head injury, so the referee then can't really go back and stop the game. And he was saying to Man City players, please kick the ball out, do me a favour.
Just over 5 minutes to the break on Talksport.
Do you think I would have done that? I'd have given it someone else to do it.
Quite possibly. 1-0 to Villa at half-time, remember. Over on Talksport 2, second half will be getting underway there in the next 5 minutes or so.
But this is the Manchester City that you come to watch, isn't it? When we talked about the atmosphere as well. This is what they expect.
Now De Bruyne, a little back flick for Riyad Mahrez, approaching the edge of the D. Options left and right. Back heels it for Bernardo Silva, who's immediately closed down by Click. Fresh onto the field for Leeds United. Bernardo Silva drifts out to the inside right channel. Now finds De Bruyne, who moves in field up to the edge of the area. Foden lets the ball run across his body, and the ball snakes just the wrong side of Mellier's left-hand post for Phil Foden, within an inch of being 4-0 to Manchester City.
Oh, that's what I'm going to go 2 inches wide. You've got an inch, I've gone 2. Ooh, give it 3. It was incredibly close, though, wasn't it? But again, the movement, and this is the thing. Man City players are so comfortable with the ball. When you're playing one-on-one against them, you've got to be... Your defensive work has to be immaculate. You've got to be absolutely perfect. But City players are just driving past, gliding past the Leeds defenders. And then it's like, oh, now what? Once you've beaten that first man, the whole system that Leeds are playing breaks down.
They're just making angles for one another.
Their intensity with and without the ball. This is one of the best displays I think I've seen Manchester City play in and out of possession.
They're 3-0 up. with about 4 minutes to go to half-time here on Talksport at the Etihad. Leeds United desperate to try and lay a glove on Manchester City at least before half-time. Click works it out to the right-hand side of Rafinha. Driven ball over to this near side, looking for Jack Harrison, but a comfortable header clear for Stones, and he'll get it again right-hand corner of his own penalty area. Just hooks it towards the halfway line. Headed down by Forshaw for Leeds, but Harrison loses out. 3 sky blue shirts around him, and now De Bruyne's got the wrong side of Forshaw. He's got Foden ahead of him. Lovely pass to find Foden inside the box, and Foden's shot deflected over the bar by Ayling for another Manchester City corner at the south stand end. 3-0.
Again, fantastic play. But you can see quite clearly again, once De Bruyne breaks past Forshaw, he's then running at people, and no one wants to come and engage him, because that means they've got to leave their own man to be able to do that. Foden's very, very unlucky there. Great last-ditch tackle from Luke Ayling.
Foden's gone across to take the corner at the south stand end. Again, a clutch of players at the near post. Mahrez at the far. De Bruyne just at the edge of the box, and Zinchenko hanging back. In it comes from Foden. Right to the crossbar, headed up in the air by Rodri, who was trying to get round the back, but it just came off the top of his head more than anything else, and it drifts out of play, and Leeds United are awarded a throw in their left back.
He was just underneath it, wasn't he? It just timed it a little bit wrong, and as he jumped, he was on his way down. It just clipped him on the top of his head.
But there was no one with him.
No, again, completely unmarked. I've just had a text from a pal of mine, Leeds fan, that's here. So I think we need an F1 race director.
They're in short supply. Leeds United inside their own penalty area.
Next goal the winner will do at this stage.
Llorente turns away from De Bruyne, works it back to Meslier. Ayling now. Right-hand corner of his own penalty area, immediately closed down by Foden. Roberts works it out to Dallas, who's now playing right back since Shackleton went off injured. Meslier with a left-footed clearance, looking for Firpo. Does well, chests it down and gets Jack Harrison away. Down the left-hand side, Firpo's gone with him on the overlap, and Harrison finds him. Firpo to the dead ball line. It comes back for Harrison once more. He's at the byline now. Lofts it to 6 yards out. Headed away by the Manchester City defence, and Mahrez prevents a throw-in and then wins a goal kick off Jack Harrison. 3-0 to Manchester City, and they even look comfortable when Leeds threaten at the other end.
Is that the first time that Leeds have got into the 18-yard box with any real vigour?
And with more than one player in there.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? You know, again, John Stones just got caught out down this right-hand side, and it was Firpo, got into a good position and then wasn't really sure what to do. Then waited, then Harrison. Again, I think if you're that close to the goal, you've just got to dink it up to the far post and hope that someone's coming in at the far post to get a header on it.
Man City 3-0 up and cruising.
City's movement, passing is so good. Leeds just cannot get anywhere near them.
Zinchenko finds Bernardo Silva, midway point of the Leeds half. Zinchenko again finds Grealish out on the far side of the field. And now Zinchenko just spins on the ball, plays a neat pass infield to find Bernardo Silva. He's in acres of space in the centre of the Leeds half. Threads it up to the edge of the area. Foden across to the edge of the D. De Bruyne's there, working it onto his left and fires it over the bar. He really got hold of that, but just couldn't get it on target. Moving into stoppage time, and it's still 3-0 to Manchester City.
Again, just great play from Manchester City. The way Kevin De Bruyne moves that ball, you know, he just sweeps it with his right foot, but he moves the ball probably 2 or 3 yards to open up the angle to get that shot away. I mean, City really, it's just magnificent to watch. Even now, like, you know, they go man for man. Leeds want to play out from the back, but because Man City are prepared to go man for man all over the pitch and match up with them, they can't play out. There's nowhere to go, so they end up hitting long, aimless balls forward, and more often than not, giving it away.
We're into a minimum of 3 minutes of added time on Talksport at the end of this first half.
This is when you're a Leeds player like, ref, do us a favour, stop it now, let us get in at half-time.
Oh, Dallas, right-hand side for Leeds, can put the ball into the box, and Stones had 2 Leeds players with him. He had to win that header, and he did so very comfortably for Manchester City. And now Rodri, just ahead of his own 18-yard line, plays the ball up to De Bruyne, who's caught by Forshaw. Free kick to Manchester City, just shy of the halfway line. So a minute of the minimum 3 has gone.
The good news is, at least for Leeds, that it'll probably bring on Raheem Sterling, Gundogan and Jesus in the second half. All with a point to prove.
And Leeds have easily brought on their most experienced outfield player in Click. The rest of the outfield players on the Leeds bench are all academy graduates like Joe Gelhardt.
And this is what I was talking about earlier. Leeds, some very, very good senior, older players, some great youngsters.
But nothing in between.
But not a lot in the middle.
Foden now. Lovely run up to the edge of the area. Great pace. Gets to the right-hand corner of the box. Works it back for De Bruyne. Foden again, right-hand corner. Lofts the ball to the far post, looking for Zinchenko. Got forward. It's cleared away by Leeds, but De Bruyne there to tidy up. Back it goes to Laporte on halfway. Squares it to his right for Ruben Dias.
It may seem easy for Manchester City, but that's because their movement, their work rate is exceptional. But if you look at the running stats, I bet Man City might have even run more than Leeds, at the moment, because they pass, they move, they're always making angles for each other, giving them 3 or 4 options on the ball.
Mahrez has drifted out to the left-hand side, spins away brilliantly from a couple of opponents, but the ball does ricochet into the path of Stuart Dallas, who can bring it forward for Leeds. Tyler Roberts keeps the ball in play on the far side of the field, just shy of the halfway line, and the referee brings the first half to a close, and it has been a masterclass from Pep Guardiola's Manchester City against Marcelo Bielsa, his old tutor, and they have been simply irresistible in the first period. Phil Foden got them on the way in the 8th minute. That after Rodri and Foden had combined so well. Out came Meslier to block from Rodri's effort. It came to Phil Foden, and his goalband shot wasn't able to be cleared off the line by Stuart Dallas. Grealish then made it 2-0 on 13 minutes. Lovely ball in from the right-hand corner of the box by Riyad Mahrez. Grealish couldn't miss with a header from right in front of goal. And then just after the half hour, Rodri, player of the half, with a sublime through ball that meant Kevin De Bruyne did not have to check his stride and just fired it home left-footed past the hapless Meslier. It's been one-way traffic. The leaders lead, and it could get worse for Leeds in the second half. Half-time, Manchester City 3, Leeds United 0. Well, we've got a change of pace at the start of the second half here. Manchester City have brought on Ilkay Gundogan for Bernardo Silva. And for Leeds, they brought on Joe Gelhardt, the young 19-year-old who scored his first Premier League goal on Saturday at Chelsea. He's come on for Daniel James. So like-for-like switches from both managers at the break, and we're back underway with Manchester City in all sky blue, attacking the north stand away to our left-hand side, as myself, Danny and Adrian and our producer Jason sit in the Colin Bell stand here at the Etihad Stadium. Leeds in their change strip of all dark blue. They're attacking the south stand where they're somewhat quieter than usual supporters are housed, and I'll run you through the lineups in just a minute. The revamped lineups now we've had that change apiece. Meslier, the Leeds keeper, being pressurised by De Bruyne and Foden, and the ball down the line from Ayling is easily intercepted by Gundogan, who had a slight back strain after the game on Saturday against Wolverhampton Wanderers, but he was fit enough to be amongst the subs, and he's out there now in place of Bernardo Silva. So it's Ederson in goal, Stones, Dias, Laporte, Zinchenko at the back, De Bruyne, Rodri, Gundogan in midfield, Mahrez, Foden, Grealish up front. For Leeds, Meslier in goal. It's now Dallas, Ayling, Llorente and Firpo, Forshaw, Rafinha, Roberts, Click and Harrison, and then Gelhardt up front. Here comes De Bruyne early in the second half, looking to find Grealish at the edge of the area. Oh, it was just dummied by Dallas, thinking that Meslier could pounce on the ball, and that nearly allowed Grealish to take it off his toe and roll it in for 4-0.
Meslier must have called for that, because he was on his way out, and Dallas just stepped over the ball really casually. I don't know if Meslier didn't quite see Jack Grealish out the corner of his eye.
He very nearly stole in and got that to Jack Grealish.
Yeah, there aren't many teams that are brave enough to go man for man against Leeds because of their work rate and their physicality.
Ball over the top from Dallas, looking to Reece Harrison down the left-hand side of the area. Harrison gets to the corner of the 6-yard box, tries to find a teammate, but it just ricochets away from him, and Ederson can just pounce on the ball, and the danger's averted for Manchester City. 3-0 up they are.
Lost a bit of composure, didn't he? Got into a really good position, pulled the trigger. You might as well have a shot once you get in that position, even with your so-called weaker foot. But I think this is the problem. Leeds dominated teams last season physically. Their running power, their energy was absolutely ridiculous at times. Manchester City have gone, fine, we'll match that. And if we match your work rate, we match your running power, running off the ball, then we're better than you. And it goes back to the old adage of win the battle first. And sometimes that would take 10 minutes to win the physical battle. Sometimes it might take 85 minutes to win the physical battle. But then once you've won that, then quality takes over. But City have just won the physical battle from the first minute.
Grealish, lovely ball, nicked infield to Gundogan, who's striding towards the area, squares it across to Mahrez, who's got space to attack Firpo. Mahrez goes for goal, and it dribbles in at the far post, and Manchester City have made it 4-0 early in the second half. Mahrez was found at the edge of the area, had time to shift it onto his left foot, and just rolled it almost casually into the bottom corner. Meslier didn't even bother diving for it. It was beyond him before he realised. Mahrez makes it Manchester City 4, Leeds United 0.
Such an easy goal for Riyad Mahrez to score. Great technique still. You know, actually, he does get very, very lucky with I think a double deflection. But that's because Firpo's not close enough to him. Dance, you don't have to be Pep Guardiola. Where's the danger when Riyad Mahrez has got the ball? It's his left foot, right? Coming inside. Show him down the line. What's the worst thing that can happen is he goes down the line and he crosses the ball. You allow him to check back onto his left, he can bend it near post.
Here they come again. It's Mahrez again at the edge of the box. This time it's blocked by Ailey. Comes out to Rodri. Just slides it into De Bruyne, right-hand side of the box. And Llorente gets a foot in to get it clear. Desperate defending from Leeds United as Manchester City seek out a fifth.
Manchester City fans now, anyone gets near the box, they're just shouting shoot.
Well, now Gelhardt trying to bring it clear, this young 19-year-old who's got a pretty thankless task in this
it's almost impossible for him. I'm assuming Dan James must have picked up some kind of injury.
Unless they perceive that Gelhardt is a target man that you can actually hope you can hit a long ball to and he can hold it up, because that's not really what Dan James can do.
He's 5'3" though as well.
Yeah.
If you're going to put a target man, they'll put Tyler Roberts up there, because he's not tracking his man at the moment.
De Bruyne just loses out to Stuart Dallas, who can bring the ball clear for Leeds United. So 5 minutes gone of the second half, and already it's 4-0 to the league leaders. Gundogan writes a couple of challenges in the centre circle, plays a lovely 1-2. Now De Bruyne attacking the penalty area again, steps away from Forshaw, finds Mahrez at the edge of the D. Mahrez just has to spin away from Llorente, who was tracking him. Now Stones works it out to the right-hand side. Grealish has gone over there for the time being for City. Plays a 1-2, goes down at the edge of the box, and a free kick's been awarded by Paul Tierney. Grealish thinks it should be a penalty, I think, but the offence occurred outside the box. Whatever, it's a free kick in a dangerous area to Manchester City at 4-0 up.
Let's have another quick look at it. I mean, it's a blatant pullback.
Firpo's on a yellow card, he's got to be careful.
Right.
Booked in the first half.
So I don't want anybody to be sent off, but in the balance of consistency and fairness, that's another yellow card. Has to be.
Well, he's a lucky boy, is Junior Firpo.
And you wonder, this is why players get frustrated as much as anything. There's no consistency, and I think that's why, I forget who I said he let somebody get away with one early on, so he didn't get into this situation. It's a blatant. It's a pulling back. It should be a yellow card.
Free kick then to Manchester City, just outside the edge of the penalty area. There is a draft excluder there behind the Leeds wall. It's Rafinha.
How many times has that worked?
Perry Groves asked me the same question on Saturday. I said never. It might work tonight, but it's there anyway. And there's a two-man Man City wall in front of the Leeds wall. Gundogan leaves it for Mahrez, left-footed, tipped over the bar by Meslier. Corner kick to Manchester City at the North Stand end. They continue to pressure Leeds United at 4-0 up.
The wall never jumps high enough to get a ball underneath it. I mean, I find that unbelievable at times.
Short corner, De Bruyne now charging into the area from that right-hand side. Finds Mahrez, right-hand corner. The ball almost got its way through to Ruben Diaz. Breaks out to this near side, the City left, where Grealish stops it going out for a throw. Zinchenko manages to wriggle clear of a couple of challenges, and Grealish passes calmly into the centre circle for Gundogan. Now Zinchenko. Good skill from the Ukrainian. Gets away from Rafinha and comes in field. Zinchenko then just decides to lay it off to Rodri. Plays a little 1-2 with Foden. Foden's on the burst through the inside left channel. But Rodri's found De Bruyne. De Bruyne spreads it wide right for Riyad Mahrez, who's got Stones on the overlap if he wants to use him. But Mahrez has come in field. Lofts it for Gundogan! Just the wrong side of the post. Wonderful execution from Riyad Mahrez to lob it over the Leeds defence. Gundogan running into the back post, tried to put it with the outside of his right boot into the far corner. It just went the wrong side of the post. Leeds goal kick, Man City 4-0 up.
What a goal that would have been. Again, allowing Riyad Mahrez to come inside on his left foot. You know what he wants to do. Send him down the line. But the run from Gundogan, a deep, late run, you know, like Frank Lampard used to make into the box, running from deep. Nobody tracked him, nobody picked him up. And it was just a deft touch with the outside of his right foot. Just tried to steer it into the far corner. And like Foden earlier on, missed by no more than 6 inches.
4-0 to Manchester City here on Talksport. Still 1-0 to Villa at Carrow Road with about 20 minutes to play. That's the Talksport 2 commentary going on right now. Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin guiding you through the action at Carrow Road. But here on Talksport, Manchester City are preparing to bring on Fernandinho as a second change. And he'll be on at the next breaking play. But Foden has found Grealish meantime. Left-hand corner of the box. Grealish trying to step inside Stuart Dallas. Ayling wins the ball back for Leeds. It's played out to Forshaw, who guides it out to the left-hand side.
Do you notice how strong the Man City players are? They're all quite diminutive, aren't they? There's no brutes in there effectively, but they don't get bumped off the ball very often. They're quite happy to stand up to that physical challenge.
Away come Leeds United for a rare foray towards the halfway line. Never mind getting inside the Manchester City half. Nearly 10 minutes gone in the second half. Here's Tyler Roberts at full pelt, moving into the Man City half, but he's just shackled off the ball for a moment by Rodri. Works it left to Junior Firpo, and he rolls it down the left-hand side for the former Man City Academy player Jack Harrison. Ball across the face of goal. It was an attempted diving header, and then Dallas with a left-footed drive, and it clips the post and goes out for a goal kick with Ederson at full stretch. And Dallas, who scored 2 here last season, very nearly got Leeds what may only be a consolation goal. Stays 4-0.
Very, very close. First time that Leeds have managed to get a cross in. Zinchenko didn't get the greatest clearance on it, and as it came back to Dallas, just tried to side foot it left foot into the far corner and just skims the outside of the post.
Well, Rodri is getting a rest. I think he's tormented Leeds enough.
Oh, he was immense. First half, he was absolutely outstanding. But I tell you what a replacement to bring on.
Well, the man who Rodri will eventually succeed as the main man, I guess, in central midfield, who's already done it. It's Fernandinho. He now is. I think he's the new Busquets now, isn't he, Rodri? Well, he's won enough.
I think he's absolutely brilliant.
30-odd Spanish caps, Rodri. Certainly putting himself front and centre in that position. You're listening to Manchester City 4, Leeds United 0 on Talksport with Now. Don't forget, with a Now Sports Day membership, you can stream all of the Sky Sports action for just £9.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. Ian Danter and Danny Mills with you at the Etihad Stadium. 20 minutes to go at Carrow Road. Still 1-0 to Aston Villa through that first half Jacob Ramsey strike. That's live with Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin. Use the app, get it downloaded and swipe between Talksport and Talksport 2 so you don't miss any of the action. Meantime, Grealish in possession for Manchester City. Dallas trying to stay with him as he runs across from left to right. He was caught off the ball by Dallas as he released it, Grealish.
Gelhardt just caught him late a little bit. I think Jack Grealish was looking for it, looking to try and buy a free kick.
Fernandinho looks for Riyad Mahrez at the right-hand corner of the box. Cross to the far post. Foden was running in, but Ayling got there first. And Diego Llorente clears up to Gelhardt, who holds it up well inside his own half, and then he was just caught from behind by Ruben Dias, and Leeds have a free kick.
Surely that... We talked about you don't always know what Manchester City are going to play, the formation. But you know Riyad Mahrez wants to come inside on his left foot. Show him down the line. That's basic football knowledge. And as a full-back, I certainly know that he doesn't want to go on his right foot. He's not the world's worst, certainly. But he's not going to hurt you anywhere near as much if you allow him to come inside on his left. And they've allowed that too easily 6 or 7 times.
Back it goes to Meslier. 57 minutes gone on Talksport. Manchester City 4, Leeds United 0. Gundogan has the ball fired up to him on halfway by Edison. He was being held back by Click. And may I remind you that the Sports Bar is here straight after this commentary at 10 o'clock. Jason Cundy and Dean Saunders taking your calls. 03717 223344.
I have to say, Edison's concentration levels are outstanding. You know, a lot of goalkeepers, David James, obviously I was here with at Manchester City. Jamo would have struggled to have this so much non-involvement in the game. He probably would have gone up front at some point. But
Stuart Pearce once sent him on as a striker.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, Dance. You know, you didn't have to bring that up. But his concentration levels are unbelievable because he has nothing to do in the game.
Here's Rafinha for Leeds United, playing the ball infield, but it's comfortably won by Emerick Laporte. And Fernandinho rolls it up to De Bruyne. Was he being caught by Adam Forshaw? Nothing doing,
that was
says
a foul.
Paul Tierney.
Yeah, and Guardiola knows it should have been a foul.
And Click brings it forward. Firpo out to the left-hand corner of the box, and Harrison. They're going to take on Ruben Diaz. Harrison into the area. He should be able to get a shot away. He does, and it's gone wide via a deflection for a Leeds United corner. That was so nearly a goal back for Leeds United after what should have been maybe a free kick for Manchester City.
Oh, without a shot. I don't know how far VAR would go back to look at that. Whether they've gone back that far? Probably not, is the answer. But again, people say, oh, Leeds having a go in the second half. It's easy to play when you're 3-0 down. It's easy to play when you're 4-0 down because no pressure. There's no jeopardy in the game anymore, so you can go out and play with a little bit more freedom.
Rafinha's driving to the near post. It caught by Edison on the bounce. Thinks about bowling it out first time to De Bruyne, but holds it up for a moment and then bowls it out to Grealish, who's now scampering.
I was half expecting Edison then to roll it to himself and him start running up the pitch.
Like a PlayStation goalkeeper. We've all done it.
Yeah, but he probably can. That's the difference.
Manchester City 4, Leeds United 0. Do forgive me, it's Jamie O'Hara with Dean Saunders on the Sports Bar tonight at 10 o'clock. Jamie and Dean taking your calls after all the action tonight and to preview what's to come tomorrow with those 4 games across the Talksport network on Talksport, Talksport 2 and the app. Burnley, Watford, Brighton, Wolves on the app, Palace, Southampton on Talksport 2 and Arsenal, West Ham here on Talksport. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff tomorrow.
Be interesting to see what the Leeds fans think. I'm sure there'll be plenty of callers to the Sports Bar.
Here's Mahrez for Manchester City as they seek out number 5 on the hour, but misplaced pass, but Rafinha dwells on it and Grealish takes it off his toe and in the box Mahrez finds Foden and that is number 5, but the offside flag goes up to deny that 5th goal. VAR will take a look, of course. Foden had stuck it away from close range, and that after Rafinha dwelt on the ball in a right back position and Grealish took it off his toe, and suddenly within 3 seconds City were inside the box.
That one's onside.
Well, the ball to find Mahrez.
That's onside. That's onside.
This may well get given.
I think that's onside. It's not clearly offside.
The ball through from Grealish to Mahrez. He clearly wasn't offside, Mahrez. It's the ball across from Mahrez.
I don't think that's
to
offside
Foden.
either.
They'll be drawing the lines.
I don't think
just to see whether it is or not. Guardiola's just sat in his technical area. Bielsa off his feet for a rare occasion, and it's been given offside. That ball was what Foden was slightly ahead.
I thought we weren't going for the toenail anymore.
Well, maybe it's more than a toenail. Of course, we can't see.
How big's his toe?
4-0 it stays, but here's De Bruyne wanting to make it 5. Oh! Kevin De Bruyne with a rocket! What a fantastic strike! Caught that from 30 yards out. It was still rising when it hit the back of the net. Absolutely brilliant strike from the Belgian. And City have gone 5-0 up. And they could get more. There's plenty of time to go. It's just a matter of how many. Kevin De Bruyne, imperious. It's City 5, Leeds 0.
Do not poke the bear. I mean, unbelievable. What a hit that is. I mean, it sort of made made Man City angry, didn't he? I mean, he's just hit that like an absolute rocket. I mean, let's be honest, he's a yard outside the D. No one's closed him down. No one's got anywhere near him. In the end, it goes through Llorente's legs, but he's 5 or 6 yards off him. He's not getting anywhere near it. and he's absolutely smashed it. That's got to be travelling. That's 100 miles an hour plus.
Even Pep Guardiola just allowed himself a little fist pump celebration as that one tore into the net from Kevin De Bruyne, who's now on a hat-trick. Manchester City 5-0 up. Leeds coming forward with Tyler Roberts trying to curl it goalward straight into the grateful arms of Ederson.
But that's the thing, that's what I'm talking about. 5-0 down, as a forward player, you can go and play.
Yeah.
Because there is no jeopardy anymore. It doesn't matter. If you make a mistake now, 5-6 is irrelevant. You're going to get absolutely battered by your manager. You should get battered by your coaching staff, get battered by the press. Fans won't be happy. So suddenly now you can go out, and it's a little bit false. Suddenly now players are working hard, and I know what's on the clock, 63 minutes on the clock.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, because the Leeds fans will get behind them without a shadow of a doubt. But they're playing, I worked really hard, I got a shot off on target. Yeah, you're 5-0 down.
Do you know what the City fans do in the Poznan, turning their backs? They might miss a goal if they're not careful. They
might miss two.
5-0 to Manchester City, and we're not even at the midway point of the second half. You're listening to Man City Leeds on Talksport with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Hundreds of branches, usually only 15 minutes away. Find yours now.
What did I say to Adrian at the start? If Leeds aren't careful, they could get picked off.
The way they were at Old Trafford,
yeah. And get a slapping.
Well, Nathan Ake is going to be on very shortly, getting some final instructions on this near touchline. Forward comes Ruben Diaz. I thought he was going to shoot for a minute as he got 20 yards out, and it goes to the right-hand side of the box, and a poor pass this time from Riyad Mahrez, and it just goes out of play for a goal kick to Leeds United. Now, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning after Talksport breakfast, it's Jim White and Simon Jordan. Trevor Sinclair is going to be with Jim and Simon with news, I can tell you, of what could be Newcastle United's first signing of the January transfer window. They have some exclusive news about that, so make sure you're with Jim and Simon and Trevor from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
It's not January yet, though.
Well, they've got a tip-off, so Jim and Simon will have all the latest for you on that.
Is it somebody unattached that they're suddenly going to pick up?
Maybe so. Meantime, Ake is on for Manchester City, and Ruben Diaz has been given the rest of the evening off.
Go and get yourself a shower, son, go home. Job done.
Well, he's going to take his place amongst the other replacements and put his tracksuit top on.
To say he hasn't broken sweat is a little bit disrespectful to him, in all honesty. It's been easy for him, but it's been easy because they've worked incredibly hard. Their positional sense, their work rate on and off the ball, to be in the right positions at the right time, to always be available, to always cover anything Leeds have thrown at them. I said, it's just been an exceptional performance from Manchester City.
And it's 5-0, and we're 25 minutes to go on Talksport 2.
I think if I was a Leeds player, I'd be trying to run the clock down.
Grealish, left-hand side, hugging this near touchline, faced up by Stuart Dallas, gets to about 10 yards out, trying to drift inside Dallas, who did well, stuck to his task and won the ball back, clears it down the right-hand side, Gelhardt holding it up, keeping it away from Ake, tried to backheel it, almost made a mistake, but he's got it back from Jack Harrison, and Gelhardt will power towards the halfway line before he's pulled back by Zinchenko. Free kick to Leeds United. Now with a score at 5-0, let's get the latest from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. Now, if you're going to have a flutter on the sixth goal scorer, Riyad Mahrez is 5-1, Phil Foden 13-2, De Bruyne for a hat-trick or Jack Grealish, they're both at 15-2. And that odds update all thanks to Betfair. You can get a £5 free bet when you bet £20 on multiples, or Bet Builders with their daily rewards. Betfair, where you get no cash out suspensions on match odds and over under goal markets on football. It's 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. 5-0 to Manchester City. Still 1-0 to Villa over on Talksport 2 at Norwich.
I'd love to know how many touches John Stones had, because we've hardly mentioned him in 65 minutes. He's not been involved in awful. He's not been a Carl Walker marauding right back or a Cancelo, has he?
No, he hasn't had to be. He's just held his position and let everybody else create the angles and create the havoc that Leeds just haven't been able to deal with. It's about 8 minutes to go at Carrow Road, incidentally, in that game between Norwich and Aston Villa. Jacob Ramsey's goal still separating the sides. There's an aching chasm separating Manchester City and Leeds here tonight, 5-0.
And that's what I don't, you get players running around now looking to put challenges in, looking to put tackles in, get forward. too late at 5-0 down. You should be doing that at 0-0. Be a bit more organised then.
De Bruyne on a hat-trick. Gives the ball back to halfway.
Even still...
the referee's...
his battery's run out or something.
Yeah, he's got a problem with his...
Come on.
With his arm guard.
Put Duracell in next time, for goodness sake. But again, Ayling comes really deep with Kevin De Bruyne and leaves a great big hole in the central defensive area. And that just means for Manchester City, they just want to run and dart into that area. Because they've got the running power to do it, and they've got the ability to pick out that pass when the player runs, like the one for Gundogan over the top.
Yeah.
You know, he makes that late run, no one picks him up. City have got the ability to pick that, so you have to be respectful of the opposition and say, well, OK, they can do that, so maybe we can't play this one-to-one style.
That's Danny Mills, you can hear, alongside me, Ian Danter. Danny, of course, a foot in both camps tonight, played for both Manchester City and Leeds in the Premier League.
Slightly better times for Leeds.
When you played for them, I see what you mean.
Only played 49 games, I think, here.
That's enough.
In 5 years.
It's enough for a statue, isn't it?
In 5 years.
Here's Ake, running at pace into the Leeds United half. He's actually run straight into Stuart Dallas, who can bring the ball clear for Leeds United. Roberts is the only player ahead of him. Now he tries to play it out to the left-hand side. It breaks for Dallas and click at the edge of the area, but back comes Aymeric Laporte and just calmly wins it back for Manchester City. De Bruyne on a hat-trick, hugging this left-hand touchline. Goes past Dallas like he isn't there. Foden calling for it, edge of the area, just holds the ball up, plays to his right, plays in Mahrez to the byline and fires it in near post, and it's turned behind brilliantly by Meslier for a Manchester City corner at 5-0 up.
It's men v boys, isn't it, at the moment? It really is. You know, it's so easy at times.
I'm reminded of something I once said to Adrian when Liverpool went 7-0 up at Birmingham City in the cup tie.
It's like watching the posh.
No, I said it's men against amoebas. I think at the time it's not quite got to that stage, but
well, they're not the brightest, that team.
Not the way they played that night. Mahrez with a corner at the north stand end, left-footed in swinger from Mahrez, headed clear quite comfortably.
For those now googling, one-celled animal, I believe.
Yes.
Or one-celled thing.
Here's Zinchenko in the centre circle.
One-celled organism.
Will be a change. Cody Drammer's going to come on for Leeds United in a minute. Defender.
He's like that, yeah, cheers for that. Thanks.
A few minutes of experience. Here's Joe Gelhardt, who's a half-time change for Leeds United. Click in centre field, works it out to the right wing for Jack Harrison, looking to run at Zinchenko, plays the ball inside him for Dallas, pulled it back to the edge of the area, deflects into the path of Harrison again, tries to square it across the face of goal, but there are enough sky blue shirts there to get it clear. But Fernandinho can't find Mahrez, and it's back on the right wing for Leeds with Harrison getting down to the byline, trying to step in between two City players, but between Zinchenko and Grealish they win the ball back for the league leaders. And I imagine Chelsea and Liverpool fans listening to this will be thinking, OK, we've still got our work cut out with these ahead of us in the table.
I mean, the performance tonight has just been excellent. It really has.
Mahrez, 20 yards inside the Leeds United half of the field, plays it back to De Bruyne. They're just toying with...
Newcastle must be watching this thinking, oh no. COVID?
They are just toying Manchester City with their opponents at the moment here. And yet Newcastle are next on Sunday at St James Park, and then Leicester come here on Boxing Day. Villa have just gone 2-0 up at Carrow Road. The points are safe for Steven Gerrard's men in that Talksport 2 kickoff. You can listen to the closing stages. It's Ollie Watkins who scored that second goal for Aston Villa. Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin there at Carrow Road. 5-0 to Man City here. Here's Mahrez threading it down the left-hand side of the box for Grealish. Down to the byline, faced up by Dallas. Just moves slightly inside the penalty area. Support from Mahrez still on this left-hand side. Now Foden joins in at the left-hand corner of the box. Picks it up again from Riyad Mahrez. De Bruyne wants it played backwards to square. Foden is caught by Stuart Dallas, and that's a free kick to Manchester City, 25 yards out. And Jimmy Carr was amongst the guests on Talksport Breakfast this morning, talking about his upcoming tour. and other things besides. And Laura Woods is joined by Ali McCoist and Ray Parler from 6 tomorrow, looking back on all of tonight's stories and looking ahead to our 4 exclusive Premier League commentaries tomorrow, including Arsenal West Ham at 8 here on Talksport. Cody Drammer is on to replace Junior Firpo, and a free kick to Manchester City about 30 yards out, left hand side, about 8 or 9 yards in from the near touchline to us. Fairly rudimentary 2-man wall facing De Bruyne and Mahrez, who swings it in left-footed. Oh, Ake had a free header and couldn't connect. 6 yards out. Drifts out to the right-hand side where Gundogan keeps it in play for Manchester City. Zinchenko finds Fernandinho, right-hand side of the box. Fernandinho can't get past Llorente. Now Zinchenko has it. Guides it back for Gundogan once more. Teases it back out to Fernandinho. First time cross. Headed goal was by Laporte. Saved and driven in by Stones. He can't connect. And Stones again! At the second attempt. Mates it. 6 of the best for Manchester City. Even John Stones is getting in on the act here at the Etihad tonight. His first attempt was saved by Meslier, who's looking down at the turf, abject, because even before he got to his feet, having made that first save, Stones latched onto the rebound and lashed it home. Manchester City 6, Leeds United 0. Danny Mills
speechless with the defending.
We pay you by the word.
But the first header's a free header from Laporte. No one's anywhere near him. Comes back out to John Stones. He scuffs his shot. It hits Meslier. Stones at that point is completely unmarked. It comes back to John Stones, who's still unmarked, and gets a second bite at it. So that's 3 shots on the goalkeeper within 7 yards, and not a single challenge. That can't happen.
Well, John Stones didn't make a Premier League appearance until October. It's his first goal of the season. Scored for England against Hungary earlier this campaign.
He won't get an easier game playing at right back. I do know that.
So 6-0, and we still have just over a quarter of an hour to play.
Here we go. This could be 7.
Zinchenko hits a long ball downfield. Llorente and Mahrez chasing after it. Llorente gets there first and calmly heads it back to Meslier. So just a quarter of an hour to go. 6 on the board for Manchester City. I wonder whether Ipswich and Southampton fans are just quietly starting to wonder.
Well, it doesn't get any easier for Leeds, by the way, because they've got Arsenal next, and then they've got Liverpool.
That's right, and they'll be without Junior Firpo through a suspension, so they're going to have to make another change.
Bamford won't be back. Calvin Phillips not going to be back for some time.
No, Cooper's going to be out for a while.
You know, you do start to think, you know, obviously they've just had huge investment from the San Francisco 49ers, whether they're going to have to dip into their pocket. I think there are 3 worse teams in the Premier League, but you start going into the new year and you're flirting with the relegation zone. I think they're going to need some sort of spark to get themselves out of it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Victor Orta and the purchasing team at
if he's not fighting opposition chairman or whoever it might be.
But he's shown at times he's got an eye for a player.
No, without a doubt. But this is what I'm saying. They've recruited brilliantly teenagers. But when you look at Ayling, Dallas, Cooper, you know, they're all, even Bamford's getting up sort of, you know, towards 30, aren't they? You know, they're senior players.
Yeah, you want the off-the-peg 24, 25-year-olds.
Yeah, to just come in and be really solid and do a really good job.
Fernandinho really solid there in the centre circle as City come forward again. Grealish, left-hand corner of the box, faced up by a couple of Leeds defenders. It finds Gundogan at the edge of the area, dancing into the box, and the ball deflects off Ayling and goes behind for a corner kick. A little bit of twinkle toes from Ilkay Gundogan, but he just couldn't get the shot away. But Man City do have a corner, 6-0 up.
His touch and balance is exquisite. Gundogan's a joy to watch. And bearing in mind, he's had, 2 horrific knee injuries?
And back problems when he was at Dortmund too.
But I mean, he came to City with a knee injury, then got another really, really bad one. His movement, his balance, his finishing, fantastic player to watch.
Foden's corner for Manchester City, left-footed out swinger, just down to our left, goes deep to the far post. Ake! Number 7! Free header for Nathan Ake at the far post. It's getting better and better for Pep Guardiola. It's getting more and more tragic for Leeds United, who are leaking goals tonight at the Etihad. Nathan Ake makes it Manchester City 7, brackets SEVEN. Leeds United 0.
So basic, isn't it? Who's marking him? Just trying to see who. So he peels off round the far post.
Llorente, who was closest to him notionally.
But when you say closest to him, you mean 4 yards away inside the 18-yard box. That's the problem. I mean, it's a really good head. It's a simple ball into the box. It's a really good. He's completely unmarked. With those dreadlocks, he looks a bit like Ruud Gullit then, didn't he? Taking me back to Euro 98.
Yeah.
As the hair all piled forward.
Lovely header though, all the same. Free header, but got it on target. Past Meslier. 7-0 to Manchester City. 12 minutes to go. And they don't appear to be in the mood to declare.
Leeds fans to stay in, to be fair to them. Going to be a long way back on the M62 in the fog and the roadworks.
Ake now trying to do some defending, just keeping the ball away from Joe Gelhardt, and guides it back to Ederson. I should say as well, by the way, this is Manchester City's 33rd league win of the calendar year, which does equal the record that Liverpool set.
Nine's the biggest win still?
9-0, yeah, which is like, Leicester, Southampton, or Manchester United, Ipswich.
Well, I'm thinking with 12 minutes plus injury time.
Liverpool managed 33 wins in a calendar year back in 1982 in the days of
Ian Rush. That calendar year nonsense. We play by seasons, don't we? Did anyone win the Premier League in a calendar year? No.
I'll move swiftly on.
Yes.
Danny Mills
Who's
doesn't
told?
like it. 10 minutes just over to go. Manchester City 7, Leeds United 0. And you wouldn't rule out more, because Manchester City have got players who are all very, very keen to get themselves in on the act.
Is there a trophy for winning like most goals in a calendar year?
All right.
Just asking.
You know the answer. That's why you asked it, you cheeky whiff. Here's Ake for Manchester City, squaring it right for Aymeric Laporte. Still playing in stoppage time at Carrow Road.
I have to say, though, it's for a 7-0, it's been a brilliant game.
Oh, it's been
a joy to, because you can get somewhere where it's just like, it's so one-sided. This has been a little bit at times too easy. But Manchester City have worked incredibly hard for it, and they've been relentless. Absolutely brilliant.
Villa have won by 2-0 at Norwich, and we have their next home game live on Talksport 2 against Burnley on Saturday afternoon. That's our 3 o'clock offering from the Premier League on Talksport 2. So Villa with all 3 points from their trip to see their old manager at Carrow Road. Ramsey and Watkins with the goals. And still time for Manchester City to add to their tally here, because we're into the last 10 minutes on Talksport.
Leeds fans are doing their best to get the players going, to give them a little bit of something.
Ake, midway point of the Leeds half, teases it out to this near side where Jack Grealish is faced up by Llorente, who's come out to close him down, but Grealish moves inside and finds Phil Foden. Foden at the edge of the area, getting the ball onto his right foot, tries to go for goal. It's blocked by the backside of Luke Ayling, but Foden picks it up again. Mahrez calling for it on the right-hand side. It's rolled out to him by Foden.
Luke Ayling's going to be sore tomorrow, isn't he? He's had about 8 blocks.
Leeds on a rare breakaway with Matthias Klick. Gets up to the halfway line. Good ball down the left-hand side. Stuart Dallas in space, puts it into the area, looking for Tyler Roberts, and it's turned behind by Nathan Ake with a minimum of fuss, even though he knew that Tyler Roberts was thundering in behind him. A corner kick to Leeds United at the South Stand end, but they trail 7-0.
I know Dallas hit the post. Has there been a shot on target?
From Leeds United?
Well, obviously.
No.
Because there's at least 7 at the other end. I'm not that daft.
I never said you were.
I don't think there has, is there?
No, Ederson's had very little to do. Might have something to do from this corner kick, we'll see. Going to be sent in right-footed, looking for Llorente at the near post, but no, Manchester City will get it clear. Foden just casually lofts it out onto the far side and it goes out for a throw.
And there's been 2 shots on target, Mr. Durham tells me. None of note, clearly, because we couldn't remember them.
Don't forget the Sports Bar coming up at 10 o'clock tonight, straight after this commentary. Jamie O'Hara and Dean Saunders.
I'm glad Gabby Agbongnahor's not on that.
Taking your calls on 03717 223344. Leeds fans and listeners from Talksport 2 join us as well for the closing stages here at the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City are 7-0 up against Leeds United. Goals from Foden, Grealish, a brace from De Bruyne, Mahrez, Stones and Ake. They're really sharing the goals around tonight, Danny Mills.
I mean, if only they had a centre forward.
Maybe they'll get one in January and really terrify us.
That's what Pep says, isn't it, all the time? He says, you know, we win with that. We win with a false nine and we're amazing. We lose with a false nine and you've got to buy a centre forward. So I think tonight proves that you don't necessarily need one.
Dramet for Leeds United. Playing the ball in field to Click, but
I think what does help is that Foden is starting to play the false nine more often than not.
Ball in the centre circle with Fernandinho. Lays it off to Phil Foden. Just over the halfway line. He floats a ball out to Riyad Mahrez, who brings it down exquisitely with the outside of his left boot. Rolls it back for Stones.
Now, we used to say, if ever you were like 3-0 up with 5 minutes to go...
Foden making room for a shot, puts it over the bar. He just rolled Luke Ayling, let the ball come across his body and then hit it left-footed from 25 yards. And it was always rising over the bar, but lovely balance and body shape from Phil Foden to make the angle for that shot. 7-0.
Unlucky in the end, just leaning back a little bit. He's disappointed with himself to miss the target. I was just saying that we used to say when we were playing that, you know, if you're 3-0 up, 5 minutes to go, it's a bit of a luxury. And then the Olays start coming and everything else. I mean, to be 7-0, well, 7-0, it's just, it must be an absolute joy out there for those City players.
Here is Adam Forshaw for Leeds United, finding Click just shy of the halfway line. Harrison, looking for Cody Drameh down the right-hand side. He wins a throw off Ake, level with the Manchester City penalty area. He wants to take it quickly, and does, to find Gelhardt. He plays the ball in field. It might be picked off by Mahrez here. They don't have men over Manchester City, but the counter-attack is on. Mahrez rides the challenge of Llorente. He's got De Bruyne to his right. Finds De Bruyne. Pulls it back, looking for John Stones, who's in there again, but it was just taken off his toe by Tyler Roberts.
Llorente was lucky, because you said he went past the challenge. It wasn't a challenge. Mahrez, you know, a couple of step-overs, and Llorente just hang a leg out. Wasn't even close to him, was completely off balance. Really poor defending that.
5 minutes to go. Manchester City 7, Leeds United 0 on Talksport. Ian Danter and Danny Mills with you. Don't forget, more football tomorrow night. Burnley, Watford and Brighton Wolves on the Talksport app that you can download for your smartphone right now for free. And you can listen to those games on the app on Talksport 2. We've got Crystal Palace, Southampton. And here on Talksport at 8 o'clock, it's the London derby at the Emirates, Arsenal against West Ham. And then on Thursday, Leicester Spurs on the app, Chelsea Everton on Talksport 2, and Liverpool Newcastle at Anfield from 8 on Talksport. Adrian will be there. Gelhardt wins the ball back for Leeds United inside his own half. Finds Click. Grealish came off worse from that challenge by Gelhardt and has stayed down, holding his left ankle, just picking himself up now as Leeds come forward with Jack Harrison down their right-hand side. Moves into the area, tries a drive, that's on target, but it's come to be dealt with by Edison. Stays 7-0 to Manchester City with time running out.
Was that Man City fans ironically cheering a shot or the save?
I think it was. Just finding their own entertainment at this point.
But this is, you know, when we talked about the atmosphere earlier with Adrian, it's like, this is what City fans expect now. I was here when they beat Watford 8, and it's almost, it's like they score, it's like a golf clap at times. It's like, oh yeah, that's a thing of beauty. And you just get a little ripple, because it's like, oh yeah, there's another great goal gone in. There's another great goal gone in. It must be so difficult for the players to raise the roof.
Well, Fernandinho makes such an ease of a challenge on halfway. Gets pushed over by Matthias Click. Free kick to Manchester City. It's about 30 yards out, but somebody in a sky blue shirt will have a go from here. You can guarantee it.
No, they won't.
Oh, they've gone short as soon as I say that. But the referee, Paul Tierney, says you took it too quickly. So maybe they will have a go at goal now.
curse of the commentator.
Yeah.
Always happens, isn't it?
Always happens.
There is no reason for it whatsoever, but it just happens every single time.
So it's to the left of centre, this free kick, and the Leeds wall is being lined up by the vanishing spray just ahead of the 18-yard line. So gives you an idea just how far out it is.
I think De Bruyne is going, shall I put it top right or top left or over the wall, round the wall?
And Mahrez is going...
I could even cross it and let someone else have a go, but I am on a hat-trick.
He is. And it's him and Mahrez that are standing over this free kick. One of them's going to have to give way, and De Bruyne is striding purposefully back from the ball. Up he steps, right-footed, over the wall and straight into the arms of Meslier. Comfortable catch for the Leeds goalkeeper. And he bowls it out overarm, looking for Harrison on this near touchline. Good ball just flicked infield for Gelhardt. Ricochets off De Bruyne back into Jack Harrison's path. Roberts making a run through the centre. Harrison goes over the thigh of Fernandinho. Referee says play on, and Click fires it wastefully over the crossbar. The advantage is not taken, and it's a goal kick to Manchester City. 7-0 into the last 2 minutes of normal time on Talksport.
But into the 89th minute, Leeds go forward, and Fernandinho says, "No, thou shalt not pass." Still not having it, even at this stage of the game. You know, could have taken a booking there quite easily, but I think he would have done to make sure that they keep that clean sheet and that defensive record.
Now here's Ake, who scored the 7th. Plays the ball up to Foden, who's dropped deep this time. Laporte just casually plays it out to John Stones, who can carry the ball into the Leeds United half. Mahrez hugging the right-hand touchline, infield to Gundogan. Stones again just looks up as we move into the last minute of normal time here at the Etihad Stadium. Ake.
I mean, if the referee's got out about him, he'll put 1 minute up at the end.
Well, it's been a few subs, but 2 or 3 minutes will probably be the limit of it. Ball over the top, picking out Gundogan, who's got him behind. Angles tight left-hand side of the area, tried to drive as it bounced for his left foot drive, but it was comfortably saved by Meslier. Stays 7-0.
Difficult angle, but again, great run over the top. I think he just caught the floor maybe as he went to drive that. Took a lot of the sting out of the shot. Yeah, you won't get any Leeds fans or Leeds players complaining if he puts 1 minute up.
I think he's just had an indication from the assistant on this near side as to what the additional time is going to be. Mike Dean, who's got the board. Meantime, the ball's gone out of play for a Leeds United goal kick. And the agony is nearly over for Bielsa and co, at least tonight. 3 minutes of minimum stoppage time. That's what we're into now on Talksport. Don't forget, Sports Bar. Lines are open now to take your calls. Leeds fans, if you want to phone and moan, it's 03717 22 3344. Or Manchester City fans or Villa fans, you want to ring and sing, same number applies. 03717 22 3344. Jamie O'Hara and Dean Saunders, former Villa striker. He'll be happy that Steven Gerrard's men are keeping up their decent form since he arrived at Villa Park after that 2-0 win earlier against Norwich. We're in stoppage time here at the Etihad. 7-0 to Manchester City. Can they further inflict misery on Leeds United? Mahrez, 30 yards out, drifting towards the edge of the area, onto his left and puts it over the bar. Well placed. He was at the edge of the box when he finally let fly, and he's as disappointed as Foden was with his effort a couple of minutes ago as it sails over for a Leeds goal kick. 7-0.
The first bit was brilliant, wasn't it? He sent Dallas one way, then checked back onto his left foot, did him again, went back onto his right, then back onto his left. Dallas was spinning in circles and he got himself into space, and then unfortunately for him, leaning back, just ballooned it over the crossbar. Meslier with a goal kick for Leeds United. Man City have been so good, even Mike Dean's not got a mention. Not even he's been able to steal the show this evening. Impossible. Tyler Roberts, one last chance for Leeds maybe to get what would only be a consolation, and Roberts was fouled by Fernandinho. Is a free kick to Leeds United. And the Leeds fans that have stayed behind, and most of them have, encouraging their team to come forward and try and get that consolation. They will. I mean, Leeds travelling fans are second to none. You know, they travel in their absolute thousands, and they have done, no matter what division Leeds have been in. Oh, mistake by Zinchenko, and Harrison was almost in, but a heavy touch allowed Ake to get back for Manchester City and clear it. You know, just for a moment, Harrison was in. He was in. It's concentration. They'll be exhausted. Physically and mentally, they'll be absolutely battered, those Leeds players. Foden in the centre circle. Just one of the hardest games they've ever played in. because they've had no answers to Manchester City.
Lovely turn, De Bruyne to get away from Forshaw, plays it out to Mahrez on the right-hand side. In the last minute of added time, Mahrez, right-hand corner of the box, making Stuart Dallas backpedal, still has it, rolls it back to De Bruyne, oh, he balloons it over the bar, got right underneath it like a pitching wedge, goes right over the crossbar for a goal kick to Leeds United, and the agony's nearly over for Marcelo Bielsa and his men. 7-0 Manchester City lead.
Again, Mahrez coming inside on his left foot, way too easy. Maybe pinged it a little bit hard at Kevin De Bruyne. And you're right, I mean, proper ballooned it.
Well, there's the full-time whistle, and the league leaders have sent out a real message of intent to Liverpool and to Chelsea. They have totally dismantled Leeds United here at the Etihad tonight. A performance of true star quality right throughout the team. Everybody trying to get in on the act with the goal scoring, started by Phil Foden in the 8th minute. Jack Grealish with his first goal for a while on 13. De Bruyne with his first on 32 from a sublime Rodri pass. Mahrez made it 4-0 with a deflected effort just after half-time. A rocket from De Bruyne made it 4-0 just after the hour mark. And then Stones at the second attempt made it 6. Nathan Ake's header, 12 minutes from time, set the seal on the 7th. And Leeds United absolutely torn apart. Their players are going across to those Leeds fans that are left away to our right, and they are getting an ovation from their supporters. But for the Manchester City fans, they are in 7th heaven. They win again, they win convincingly, they stay top. Full-time score at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 7, Leeds United 0.